I'm Claire, an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up here in the UK. I'm here to give you some ideas and inspiration for your paper craft projects, as well as help you love what you make. My videos are always easy to follow along to, and as a Stampin' Up demonstrator I mainly use their products simply because I love them. I'll share with you lots of tips along the way to help you get the best value from what you buy. You can shop with me if you're in the UK at createdtheottaway.co.uk, and by signing up to my newsletter you'll keep up to date with offers and all the crafty goings on at Created the Ottaway. Wow, what have we got today? There's a new catalogue out. Stampin' Up have launched this new catalogue. It goes live tomorrow. As a demonstrator, I've had the amazing ability to have a little pre-order, order some stuff in and have a play. And there is lots and lots inside, lots of ideas and inspiration. Every year they launch 5 new colours, and this year is no different. There are 5 new colours. In fact, there's actually loads of new colours because they've had a bit of a colour family swap around. So these are the 5 colours for this year. We've got Boho Blue, Moody Mauve, Copper Clay, Pebbled Path and Wild Wheat. I have to say, when I saw them in the PDF at first, I was like, I'm really loving the blue. I think I could like the Moody Mauve, and the others I'm not really sure. But after playing around with them quite a bit, getting very inky, I actually do like them together. And I was trying to think of the best way to show you them because it's really hard on video to get a feel for what they are. So I decided that we would do a simple stamping project. So I've already prepared 4 of them to show you. So they're exactly the same card, just in the 4 of the 5 different colourways. And I'm going to go through how to make this card. It's really simple stamping, but really effective. So that's what it's like in the outside. That's what it's like on the front. So I'm going to use a few different elements. We're definitely going to use the in colour card. An A4 sheet will make 2 of these cards. And then I've added a few different bits. So the stamp set that I've used just on the front is one of the images from the Dainty Delight. Just absolutely love this stamp set, and I've seen lots of other demonstrators making beautiful things. So I'm just keeping it simple this time. We're just using this one here. I wanted a sentiment that says hello. So none of these really fit the bill. So I went back to my stash, and one of the sets carrying over is Nature's Print, and that's got a perfect little hello there. So we're going to use that for the front, and then the rest of it is made up with some dies and punches. So this circle is just a circle punch, 1 1/4, and from my retired stash I've got a 1 3/8 shaped scalloped edge. No point having it in your stash if you never use it, so get it out and use it. This die on the front here, that is part of the scalloped contour set. So it comes in a set like that, and I've used the 3rd smallest. Really like dies like this that you get real value for money because you use them for so many different things. I was going to do the inside the same as the front, but decided to go a little bit different because these are a little bit different. These are the deckled rectangle dies, and you can see you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different sizes. So perfect for all sorts, for mini albums, for sentiments of different sizes. And just because they're rectangle, you can make them into square. You just die cut them a different way. So really, really useful with that. Lots and lots of different uses for that one as well. And then I wanted to show how to make a plain, simple card a little bit more of a wow. So I don't know that you can see very well on camera, but I've used different edges on the front of my card. So there's a curved one, a pointed one. That one's got quite a lot of detail on it there. This one is that one, just diagonal. And that is the basic border dies. So you actually get 6 in your set. You can see the different shapes. The cloud one is particularly useful because you could use that as a stencil for your cloud scenes. I absolutely love these, mainly because they've got stitching on them, and I'm just a fan of stitching. I think it takes a plain card onto another level just because you've got that added detail. And when you're making a card for somebody and you're going to all that trouble, you might as well make it special. So that's all the dies. Now the paper, I don't know if you can see the paper. There's this one that's got hearts, this one that's got dashes, stripes and dots, and then if you turn it over on the other side, it's got a different pattern on the inside. So this card is perfect to show off your designer series paper because you actually get to see 2 sides. And if you've watched my videos before, you know that I absolutely struggle which side of the paper to use. So because Stampin' Up are amazing at coordination, they do the paper that actually coordinates with the card. So you can see the 5 different colours there. You've got dashes and stripes, dots and hearts. So that's one side of the paper, and if I flip it over, you'll see the other side. Really absolutely in love with the hearts as well. I think that's probably my favourite out of the whole pattern, and can't decide whether to use it on the outside or the inside. So you'll probably see me struggle with that. So that comes in 6x6 size, and you can use it for lots of different projects. I really like making things out of the 6x6 paper, so go and check out my videos on YouTube. As well as the ink pads, you can get Stampin' Right markers in there in colours. These are good because you can colour directly onto your stamps and then stamp with them, and they've got a fat and a thin end. So if you're into journaling and scrapbooking, they're perfect for those. They also do alcohol markers in the same colour, and ribbon and embellishments and all sorts. So enough of that, let's get to the crafting bit. So what you're going to do, how do you get 2 cards out of one A4 sheet? So take your A4 sheet and you are going to turn it onto the long side. So short side of the top, turn it onto your long side, and you are going to cut it at 5 7/8, which if you're in centimetres is roughly 15 centimetres. So 5 7/8, and you're just going to cut it in half right across, and that gives you 2 equal pieces of card. Okay, you're going to turn that onto the long side again. So this time the long side is at the top here, and you're going to lay that along the top. Make sure it's right at the top so that you can see there's no gaps, and you're looking for 4 1/8, which is 10 1/2 centimetres. So 4 1/8 or 10 1/2, and this time we're going to use the scoring blade on our paper trimmer. So make sure the cutting blade is right out of the way, and you're just going to score it, and that's scoring it in half. Okay, so now what happens with that is your base card done. So you just fold it in half, and there you have it, a perfect card base. So to turn that plain edge into a beautiful stitched border, you pick your border. Okay, so I've got this border here. I am making sure that it's cut inside down, and then I will open that flap so that it only cuts one side, and run it through my die cutting machine. So there's lots of different ones out there. You just run it through. If you make sure that it overhangs on either side, there's just enough room for it to overhang, it will cut it completely off, and then you're left with a really nice edge. So I will bring that back in. So that's my nice edge, and can you see that stitching detail? Absolutely beautiful. And because I've already scored it, I know where to fold it. I haven't got to worry about rescoring it. And that's the front of my card done. Okay, so pick your paper. This time I'm going for the dotty. Remember, it's 6 by 6. Now remember that I scored it at 4 1/8. So I'm going to cut it off at 4 1/8 because I know that's the exact size. So remember we said 4 1/8 was 10 1/2. 4 1/8. And you're going to do it with the cutting blade this time. So you're left with that bit for another card or a tag. And then I'm going to turn it onto its side so the 6-inch side is on the side. And you're going to cut this at 5 7/8. So 5 7/8 is just about 14.8 centimetres. Okay, I think that would be all right if you did it at that. So you're just going to trim that little bit off. Real tiny piece that comes off. You can't really do anything with that. And then we're going to put this onto here. So before I glue anything, I'm just going to check that it doesn't overhang, it's the right size. And then I'm just going to get my Tombow glue, and I actually want this to be loose. So I'm just going to put a line of glue along one edge. So not too much. Tombow glue gives me a bit of wiggle room. You could use double-sided tape if that's what you've got. And you're just literally putting one line of it along the edge. And then I'm laying it on top and just bringing that down. Okay, that's it. And then I've got a couple of different bits. So I've got the bit for the inside. I could stamp something on that if I wanted to. I don't think I am going to on this time. So I'm just going to glue that straight in place, because I want enough room to put a nice little message in there for whoever I'm giving it to. Okay, so that goes in there. And then I've got this bit for the front, and that's just going to overlap on there. But first I need to stamp it. So I wanted the daisy one, didn't I? So I've got my block, and I take my stamp off and put it on there. And then I'm going to use the same colour as the blue so that it all coordinates, which is boho blue. And really nice and juicy. Just tap it a couple of times. Don't press, just tap, because they're really inky ink pads. Okay. And then I'm just going to put that over to one side because I know that I've got a sentiment to go on the other. Okay, look at that. Oh, do you love that colour? Okay, so that's absolutely matching perfectly. Now I could leave it like that and be done with it, but what I'd actually like to do is put a bit of a shadow on the background. So I'm going to use my block and I'm going to press it into the ink. Now the inks are really wet because they're new. So I'm just going to pick some of it up. Can you see? The reason I do it on my ink block is because it stops my pad drying out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this blender brush, and they come in sets of 3s, and I'm just going to put some shadow on the back. Now because this is quite a strong blue ink, I'm going to practice on my grid paper. You can get this grid paper from Stampin' Up, and it's just perfect for this. So can you see where I went on that straight away? It was really dark. If I'd have done that straight on my piece of card, I would have been distraught. No, I wouldn't have been distraught, but I would have been really like, oh no, it's too much in one way. And if you do it in a circular pattern, it helps as well. So I've got most of the ink off now. Okay, so I'm not going to press too hard. I'm just going to gently do a circle around my pattern, and I'm going a bit wider and I'm pressing a bit firmer. I'm not going too wide because I just want it to be mainly on the background bit. And can you see how it just lifts that off of the back? It stops it being so plain white. So I'm happy with that. and I'm just going to stick that on. Now again, I want this to be all floating, so I am just going to put some glue around one edge. What's that on my paper? I have no idea what that is. It doesn't matter because it's on the back. Okay, so I'm just putting it along one edge, closing my card and just putting it sort of central like that. Okay, and that's it done. So the other thing that I need to do is the little circle. So let me get the little bit of blue that was left over. That is around here somewhere. So move that out the way. So with this scalloped edge, I'm just using that was left over to make my scalloped edge, and then I just need to stamp a piece of white, which is here somewhere. Here's one I prepared earlier, look, proper blue beater style. So I've stamped on some white card with that, punched it out. I always stamp it first and then punch it out because you can see where you're stamping. And then I need some dimensionals to put on the back, just 2, because that will give it a 3D effect. And I think we have our ta-da moment, like so. Ta-da! So if I bring the others in, you can see the beautiful 5 new colours with some simple stamping and some basic borders that just make it have a bit of a wow. So other things you could do, you could add some little gems just to lift it up. You could add a bit of ribbon, but really I think it's quite nice just as it is and perfect for anybody to give a go. I hope you've enjoyed watching this. If you have, you can go and find me on YouTube. There are lots of free videos there for all sorts of inspiration with your paper crafting, and I will see you soon. Bye.